so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty.
All pretty and I ain't home. Let's go. I pull my beach shots. Cause now I'm drink along. Hell no.
Hey everybody, it's Kara Renee and you're watching Kara's Beauty. You know your favorite Got My Barbie. Anywho, this is when I first got my first apartment. Right? So let's thought back. It was me and my best friend Sage. She's been my best friend for a fucking year. It's me and her. And then also, like, we went to this school where it was very, like, urban. A lot went on in that school. Let's just say that a lot went on in that school. But Caroline also, she also was in the school. She dated this black guy who had a fat ass. I mean, talking about childbearing hips and a dump truck. A dump truck. It was short but thick. And I just would think that when I saw him, he was a real big nerd too. I thought he was going to like be very successful. I thought that he would be very successful because he was very intelligent. I'm like, it's just no way you should fail, right? It's just no way you should fail. Like your head's always in the books. It's no way you should fail. But Caroline dated him, and like a lot of other girls was like, what do you see in him? Like he's a nerd. He looks funny. He's like big and round and dark with a fat ass with glasses. Like what do you see in him? And I saw what she saw in him. Not that he was handsome. I just thought that maybe he would be a great provider one day. Maybe that'd be someone that she decided to have a family with. And I understood. So with that being said, Caroline dated him and they grew out to like continue to date on through house school. Now I didn't know that Sage and Caroline had a beef. Okay, I didn't know. And like, yes, Sage is my best friend, but it like, she would never spend her time talking about Caroline. Like, she never let me know that there was, like, a real issue. So, until I go to my first day of college. Now, like I said, it was really difficult for me to get into college. Not because it was hard, but it was because I didn't have any documentation. Like, when I got my first place, it was because my friend's family member allowed me to rent from them. I dealt with a private landlord. I never had an ID at that age. I didn't have birth certificates. I didn't have any of my documentation. It was really hard getting all of those things. So getting to school and being able to go to school and make it the deadline and be able to attend my first day of college was really exciting for me. And I was happy. So when I seen Caroline, which was a familiar face, I was like, oh, okay, you know, and we weren't friends in high school. We weren't associates, but we didn't have any animosity. I thought she was a really nice girl. And I just was like, oh, okay, we had a class together. So, of course, you know, me knowing her and her knowing me, we already went to high school together. She sat next to me. So while she was sitting next to me, it would always be looking like she was just down and depressed. And I'm a prior. Like, I'm going to pry. And mind you, I'm an empath, so I feel negative energy. So I immediately was just like, what's wrong? What's going on? And instead of like listening to what the teacher was lecturing, I would listen to her. And she would just like talk about like she's so depressed and she's going through a lot. And then she confided in me and told me that she's pregnant. And I was just like, oh, you know, that's a lot. And I'm like, are you still dealing with your boyfriend? You know, Thick Cheeks. And she was like, yeah, me and Thick Cheeks are together. Like, and I'm like, how is it going? She's like, I don't know. He's just not really excited for this baby. He's not happy, but we're working on it and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know. So I'm moving on. Eventually, she would sit next to me every day. And every day I would learn something new about her. And she would complain a lot more about, like, her living situation. I found out that she was living with a teacher. I'm going to call the teacher Miss Valerie, right? She was living with one of our old computer teachers, Miss Valerie. And Miss Valerie is a sweet, sweet lady. She reminds me of Medea. Like, she's a sweet lady. And I'm like, oh, why are you living with Miss Valerie? You know, I didn't pry too much, but I was just like wondering because like, I don't know. I know that me and my parents' situation, I didn't leave high school living with my parents. I lived on my own. Like I was homeless. So I didn't know if maybe her situation was similar. Like, did you not like have a family that you could stay with until you like moved on, or did they abandon you? Like my family abandoned me. I just want to know. What's tea? You know what I'm saying? What's tea? Like,
stop it. Get some help.
Are you like me? Are we twinning? No, we were not twinning. Kind of, but not the same. So she just continued to confide in me that they didn't have a family. Their family was going through disarray. Everybody's kind of been split up because they no longer could stay with the adult who had guardianship of them. And I was just like, why? She's like, I guess her parents was on drugs maybe, but something. Her parents were not active, and the guardian that had her, they were not able to stay with them anymore. He had been incarcerated. And I'm just like, oh. And I said, so what happened with the other kids? And they're pretty much like living with other people spread out. So I'm like, well, that's very like sad, you know? So I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel bad because like, you know what? I care too much, baby.
Stop it. Get some help.
I was just caring. And then I'm starting to tell my best friend, you know, I tell her everything. And Say just like, I don't give a fuck that bitch. And I'm like, why? Like, Say, why do you hate her so much? Why do you hate her so much? And she was just like, I don't feel bad for her. So I would though. So I would continue talking to Caroline and like she would confide in me. I remember one day like after class we decided to walk to this like little hall and they had like a lot of different like events going on to like for the college or whatever. And like we looked up and the news was on and her grandfather, which was her guardian at the time, popped across the screen. And then her name also popped across the screen and some other people's names. And I was just like looking at her and she just kind of burst into tears and I'm like, what's going on? And I kind of knew what was going on from the news article, but I wanted to hear it from her. And she basically just looked at me and she said, that's why we can't stay with our guardian anymore. Turns out her grandfather had been sexually assaulting her and all her siblings. So someone told, she was able to like be able to go wherever the hell she wanted to go because she was an adult. So the system didn't take her, but her siblings had got displaced, right? And he was going to jail. And she's like, yeah, we're fighting this court case. And I'm like, he did it? And she was like, yeah, he did it. And he's a horrible person. And like, he was really nasty to us. And like spilling all this abuse that she'd been through and trauma. And if you know anything about me, which I don't yet, but when you will find out more about me, okay? That hit close to home and it was hurtful. And I was just like, wow. And she's just like, I have to live with this. I have to see it on the news. I'm going through this. I'm pregnant. This isn't healthy. Like, and thick thighs, well, thick cheeks don't want the baby. And then she's like, I don't want to give up I want to love my baby. I want to give my baby the love that I've never gotten. And then she leads on to tell me that Miss Valerie is telling her that she no longer can stay there and she needs to move out. So she's like, and I'm homeless. Like, I don't know where I'm going after this. Like, I have no one. I'm homeless. Like, my life is just in shambles and I don't know what to do. Like, I just don't know what to do. And my little heart said, and I was like, well, I didn't know what to say. And all I could say was just like, wow. So I'm like, well, is Miss Valerie putting you out today? And she was just like, I have to find something by the end of this week. And I just don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to continue going to school. I don't even know, like, what am I going to do? I don't have a job. I said, well, is your thick cheeks helping you? She's like, no, he's not helping. And, like, I want to be with him so bad, but I don't think that he wants me anymore. Like, I just don't know. And I was like, okay. And then she was like, where do you live? And I'm like, I told her that I got my place. And she was just like, I mean, could I please just stay with you? And I was like, I don't know. I have to think about it. And like, I have to think about it. So, you know, I go home and like her whole situation is just heavy on my heart. And I just like feel super bad for her. So, you know, I call Sage and I tell her everything. And I'm just like, yo, this is a lot. And she's just like,
Don't do it. Don't do it.
F her, like, don't help her, like, no, I don't feel bad. I'm just like, Sage. And she's like, I don't feel bad, don't help her, do not let her in your house. And then she was just like, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna help her. And she was just like, don't help her. And I asked Sage recently, I'm like, why did y'all not like each other? Like, because like, I'm gonna tell this story. It was just like, she said that Caroline felt like Sage wanted her thick ass hipped man and she never wanted him. So I guess Caroline would be nasty to her. So because of that, Caroline was treating her funny, I guess, in high school about her little boyfriend. Sage don't like her. I said, it's just that was that bad? Because that girl was going through a lot and you was telling me not to let her live with me. And she said, yeah, it was just that. Tell the truth. Caroline wanted her cup of tea. So F her. And it might have been a little bit of a stream, but that's how she felt. She didn't care about that girl. So I go back to school the next day and I'm talking to Caroline and I'm just like, you can move in with me. And she was like, oh, thank you. I'll help you. Like, I don't have a lot of money, but like, I'll figure it out. And I'm like, you don't have to help me right now. Just come stay with me. You can go to school from my house. We can go to school together. We have most of the same classes. We'll figure it out, you know? So she stays with me. She comes in the house. I didn't have, like, my first place, I didn't have anything but a blow-up mattress and a 12-inch TV, baby, okay? I didn't have anything. And all of that was in my room. So my living room was pretty big, and it was empty. It was only a one-bedroom apartment, but it was empty. It was in the trenches, baby. I'm talking about the trenches, okay? It was in the trenches. It was like an old schoolhouse church. Really gave old church almost. And like they like knocked it down and made it like 4 duplexes. It just was, it was the trenches. And I'm like, this is not a lot, but like, you can stay here. Like, I don't have a bed or anything for you. I don't even have furniture. I've only been here a couple days. I haven't even been here that long. I don't have anything. And honestly, the type of money that I made, I lived off of a check, and my check was like a one-time payment, and it wasn't a lot of money. So I wasn't even being able to afford furniture when I did. Like, I couldn't afford furniture. I could only afford to come in the house and lock the door. And I could barely afford the lights, baby. I could barely afford the food in the refrigerator. My check only paid for legitimately just what I had, and really that wasn't enough. I had to figure out other ways to like make it enough. Wasn't enough, okay? So like taking on an extra body was just like, whew. But I just wouldn't feel right letting her like sleep on the street pregnant. And I'm just like, why isn't Thick Cheeks helping you? Thick Cheeks did not want her. Thick Cheeks did not care for her at all. I didn't know this. He just felt like no. And honestly, he wasn't as like established as I thought he was going to be. He was a bum. I don't think he even went to school. I don't think he did anything. I think he just was sitting in his mama's house after high school just chilling, which was crazy. I just thought that he was going to be something, but no, he wasn't. No. So she moves in with me. She gets her little blow-up mattress, and like she puts her clothes in the closet in the living room. It had a big closet in that living room, and she stays with me. She starts to stay with me. Now, mind you, I already had a little food in the refrigerator, but it wasn't like real food. It was like struggle food. Like at that time, I probably would have pasta and a bunch of seasoning and some vegetables, like to make soup or something. I didn't have like a lot of money. I didn't. I had a lot of canned food, preservatives, things that were cheap. You know what I mean? And I didn't have a lot of like silverware. I didn't have a lot of anything at all. I only had enough for me, but you need a place to stay, so I allowed her to move in. The first week, it went smooth. She would get up to go to school. She wouldn't be there a lot, so it went really smooth. The second week, I started to notice that like anything that I placed in the refrigerator would be gone. I could eat something. Like my best friend worked at the soup place. Another best friend of mine, I'm not gonna give them a name yet, but they worked at the soup place, and I would go over there to get like food for them, and he would get me free food. So like I'll get some of that, and it would be like a container of soup, personal soup, right? I would take it home. I would put it in the refrigerator. Gone. Anything that I placed in the refrigerator by the time I got home was gone. Mind you, we had most of the same classes, but we did not have the same classes. I took more classes than her, so I would be at school longer. So she would just be rummaging through the house. Mind you, she did not have a key. I don't know how she was getting in. Like, how was she getting in? Maybe we would leave the door unlocked or something. I don't know. Or maybe I would slide her my key. But yeah, it was giving that. Like, she would take up and use everything. The soaps was gone. The deodorants was gone. The toothpaste was gone. The food was gone. She was asleep in that fucking blow-up mattress, and around her blow-up mattress was a litter of mess. Now, mind you, this is a very empty house. It's very old. We're in the middle of the hood. Honestly, when I first got there, I found dead roaches, and I bombed it, and I never had an issue with that again. But I'm sure everyone else here deals with roaches, and it's probably because of the way this old-ass place is built. You are inviting roaches into our home when you're living like this. You know we don't have good installation. You know that there's holes and creaks and cracks from the outside to the inside. Like, we can't do this. We don't have anything. So, like, we don't, like, there's no furniture. Like, we don't have nothing in here but ourselves. So, the least you can do is pick up your trash and throw it away. They're like, because that's not the furniture that I want. I don't want trash. I want furniture. Okay? So, please pick up after yourself. So that was the thing where we started discussing that. I'm like, well, you know, you're not, like, cleaning up after yourself. I need you to be a little bit more cleany. and she just would not be clean. Like, it was like pulling teeth. So she started to be very dirty. She started leaving trash everywhere. She started eating everything. And I came to her and I was just like, you don't have your own like hygiene stuff. And she was just like, well, I don't know, I don't. And I'm like, well, we can't keep sharing hygiene because I don't have enough money to like get you hygiene as well. You have to be able to. And she was just like, well, I asked Thick Cheeks to get me some soap and he refuses. Like, he refuses. So I try to like only shower when I'm like with him, but he won't let me use his soap and stuff. And now he's like claiming that I have an odor, and like I just don't know what to do. So I'm like, I've been using your stuff to try to like smell better. And I'm like, I understand, but I don't have enough of it. Please, like, we have to figure out something. So she's like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a job. And this is the second week. Like, we had this conversation at like the end of the first week. So she found the job. She found a great job in customer service. She was making pretty good money. And she was able to still like get up, go to school, and then go to work. But that wasn't what she was doing. She wouldn't get up and go to school any longer. She did not want to go to school. Mind you, this really started happening like the end of the first week. She stopped wanting to go to school. So that's why I started getting on her about like, you here all the time because you're not leaving out with me. It like, it's dirty. Like, and then you're using up everything. So she said, I'm gonna get a job. So she goes and get a job. She stopped going to school for real. I would try to get her up to go. She would not want to go. She didn't want to go to school. I was just like, you know, maybe she's depressed. You know, like, she got a lot going on. She don't want to clean up after herself. She don't want to shower for real. She don't even want to go to school. But she's going to work. So I'm like, all right, bet. You know, she goes to work. But I really wasn't comfortable with her in my house while I wasn't there. That's another thing. Because she started doing little weird shit, like, I just was not comfortable with her in the house alone. I just really wasn't. And I just felt like some shady shit was going on. Like, stuff just started coming up missing. Like, I did not like it. I didn't like it. But I just was like, I gotta continue to be a good person. I gotta help her. And then Sage was in my ear like, you dumb bitch. Stop. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna continue to help this girl. So week 3 hits. Everything's the same. Very much. Like, she goes to school whenever she feels like it. The house is a mess. I would try to talk to her. She would pretty much be like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, I just don't feel like it right now. I don't feel like going to school, and I'm not going to. And I'm tired all the time. I'm just so tired. And I didn't go to school because I was sick. I didn't even feel good. That's why I didn't go to school. And honestly, like, he doesn't, like, I'm just trying to be around him, Thick Cheeks, because, like, I want us to be a family, but he's just not trying to be a family with me. And I'm like, I understand that, but like, he's already letting you know that he's going to be an absentee dad. He doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. You have to take care of you and get yourself together. You're so busy worried about this man that you're not thinking about your future. You want to have this baby. That is what you want to do. So make sure you set this baby up for success right now. You're like comfortable sleeping on a blow-up mattress in my living room and doing absolutely nothing. And like, yeah, like I said, she was working, but she would start to call off of work. Like, she wasn't like trying to better herself. And I'm like, I'm struggling because I want you to better yourself. You know, I'm giving you opportunities that I never had. Because like, even when I was in high school and homeless, I still had to pay bills. I still had to help. I couldn't lay on nobody's couch and not help. So you're not, and I was living with family. I'm not your family, and we're not friends. Like, you need to like do something. Like, if I'm helping you, you need to do something, because I'm giving you things that I was never afforded. I was never offered this. So do something. And I'm just telling her, like, I just want the best for you, and I just feel like you're not putting you first, and you're self-sabotaging. And I get that you're sick. I've never been pregnant, and I know I don't understand, but this isn't looking good. You won't have anything. You don't even have anything for the baby. Like, you have to put your best foot first, especially because you're going to get into them trimesters where you're not going to be able to work as much. You're not even looking at like assistance, like getting yourself help or an assistance. You're just comfortable, and that's nowhere to be. So she did start picking up a little bit more, but I could tell that she no longer liked me. Like, it was like weird. She didn't want to talk. When I would talk to her, she would kind of have an attitude. She would continue to use up my stuff. She would not replenish anything. Wouldn't help with anything. Mind you, she had been working for about 3 weeks. She said her checks is nice and she's happy with them. So that month happened. She stayed with me for about a month, right? Something happened with my check. Like I said, I got a check, a one-time payment, and that took care of my entire life. And but it didn't afford my life. So, but I was at the cheapest place possible. My rent was only $400, but my LG&E, which you don't know what that is, my electricity bill was buku money, because I was not only just paying for my unit, I was paying for the unit upstairs. I did not know that I was being scammed like this. This is my first place. I just knew that my electricity bill was like $300 every month, and my check is only $7. My phone bill's $100, and I still have to feed myself and buy hygiene products and get myself back and forth to school. And I ride the bus, and that costs money as well. Ubering wasn't a thing like that at this time. I didn't have a fucking car, and I didn't know how to drive. So I was in shambles. I was very much in shambles. And that's a whole story for another day, but I'll just let you know a little snippet. My sister calls me, and she was like, hey, you had a meeting you were supposed to go to. And this was at like 12 o'clock at night, the time when my check would have hit. So I'm up watching my bank account, like watching, because I'm like, ooh, my check hits. I can go ahead and write a check for my rent. I can start paying the bills, you know. So I'm excited. I'm waiting. 12 o'clock hits. The check doesn't hit, but my sister calls. And she's just like, yeah, you were supposed to go to a meeting today. You didn't go. I'm like, what meeting? She's like, oh, I got a piece of mail over here saying that you're supposed to go. I said, when did you get it? She said, girl, it's just been sitting on my dresser. And I said, if I miss those meetings, they'll cut off my check. And she said, I know. She said, yeah, I know. And it says that this is a meeting for your check to make sure you can still keep it. They saying they're going to cut it off if you don't go to this meeting. My heart. My check never came. It never came. She intentionally made sure that I missed that meeting because she felt salty that I was no longer staying with her. I no longer was paying her rent. So she thought that if I lost my check that I would move back in with her. And she was going to try to help me, I guess, re-get it. But it was manipulation, so I could be without anything. Like, I didn't have anything anymore. She wanted me to go back to being homeless. So I'm in shambles. I'm freaking out. And I go and I talk to Caroline. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I don't have any money. Like, I don't have a savings. Like, I just mentioned all my bills, baby. Like, there's not enough left over. I don't have a way to pay this rent. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to come up with this money. I'm going to reach out to the people at May to try to get my check back on. But at this moment, it's looking like we're about to get evicted. But I'm like, at this moment, it's looking like I'm about to get evicted. I don't know what I'm going to do. So she's just looking at me like, wow, that's crazy. That's a messed up thing to do. I'm like, yeah, I have a really messed up family too. So like, yeah, I completely understand what you were going through. So I'm trying to figure out things, and like for the first week of it, like I'm trying to figure it out, you know, like what can I do? What can I do to come up with this money? I'm calling family members. I even called my mom to see if I can go back over there. She said, what you gonna do? She didn't give a fuck, okay? And I'm just like, I don't know. So Sage is like, well, you have Caroline in the house and she has a job. Like, she's not willing to help you, like, come up with at least half of, like, at least the rent at that, like, with something. Like, she can't help you with anything. And I'm like, I've been complaining to this girl about, like, getting food for herself or, like, soaps or, like, toothpaste, and she's refused to pay for anything. She's just stacking up her money and doing what she wants with it. I don't think she would, but I don't know. So I go and ask her, and I'm like, listen, I'm about to start working real soon. I could probably come up with it. Would you be willing to help me pay a little bit towards it?
Just answer the question, okay? Please don't play with me right now. Just no.
And she was just like, honestly, I have a baby on the way. I need to save up all the money that I have right now just to take care of me and my baby. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to be able to help you. I'm not. I'm like, well, you've been working a lot longer than me. You're not paying any bills other than your phone bill. Your job pays really well. You can't help at all. She's like, no, I'm not going to be able to help you.
What the f?
I said, okay. So I continued to figure it out. I did start going to work. I did end up eventually coming up with the money. So now I'm going to school and I'm going to work, right? Because I couldn't work when I had gotten my money. Like, I wasn't allowed to work a certain amount of hours. So now that I don't have it, I need to go to work. So that's what I did. I went to work. And I remember my check was nice. I brought home like $600. And that still didn't cover everything. And I was like, well, hey, listen, I have the rent. I have half of the electricity bill. Or would you at least be able to help me pay for the electricity? You know, I need help, and you're staying here. You're not paying for anything. You don't pay for food. You don't pay for anything. Like, could you please help me with the remainder of that bill, because I don't have it, but I have been able to come up with everything else. And I think that you've been living here for over a month and a half rent free. Me asking for that isn't a lot. Are you not willing to help? And she was just like,
I don't want to do it.
no, I'm not. I can't help you right now. I'm going through my own issues and I don't have time to deal with yours. So I'm sorry that you don't have the money. You're just going to have to figure it out. Like, I have a baby on the way, and I don't really have anything for my baby, and I'm putting things away to take care of me and my child, because I have to take care of me. I have to put me and my child first. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to help you. I said, so you think it's completely fine to stay with someone rent free and offer them nothing, and to like leave their house a mess all the time and do nothing? Like, you don't I understand that you have a baby and you're about to have a baby soon, which was a couple months. But it's like, I know that you're about to have a baby and you're preparing for this baby, but if I'm not housing you, if you don't stay here, you don't have any other options. What are you going to do? Well, I'm just going to stay here until like I can't any longer, because I can't help you. Like, my money is my money, and I can't help you take care of your house. Decisions are fucking decisions, you fat neck ugly bitch. Oh, I was so mad. I was mad. I'm not even gonna hold you, because listen, see, I understand that she was pregnant. I understand that she had a baby to take care of, but you have been my child. I've been feeding you. I've been clothing you, because you didn't even have clothes for real, you fat phone. You've been eating up my food. You've been using up my hygiene products. You've been running up my LG bill, my light bill. You've been running in the muck with that. And I haven't said anything. My light bill was already buku expensive. And when things finally hit rough for me, you don't have anything for me. You can't give me anything. You can't offer me anything. And I've been helping you.
That's weird.
And I've been more than nice. And the only thing I've been doing is spilling words of encouragement and just telling you to better yourself. And you're like that with me. And I see why Miss Valerie put you out, because all the things that she said about you were true. You were dirty, you were lazy, and you did not want to do anything. And the moment she found out you were pregnant, you had to go. Because what she wasn't going to be doing is getting stuck taking care of you and your child. Nobody wants to do that. Grow the up. So you won't just sit here, because I understand that you had a lot going on too. I just came from being homeless, and I'm not going back. So what I'm not ready to do is take her wouldn't help me and I'm willing to help you. That's crazy. That made me so upset, because like, I understand your situation. I was somewhat in your situation. That's why I allowed you to come and stay with me. But even when I was in your situation, I never had the temperament and the gall as you. Everywhere I stayed, even if I was treated bad, even if I had kiss, even if I only was offered a floor, even if I was only offered a couch, I paid for it. And on top of I paid for it, I also paid for my food. I also brought my own hygiene. I paid for everything where I was. As uncomfortable as I was, as unwanted as I was, I made sure a mother couldn't say that they was just taking care of me, because no one did. I paid for everything. I always helped. No one ever allowed me to just be in their space and take up all their stuff and use up all of their shit and didn't give them nothing. What behooved me, y'all, is I didn't mention that around this time, she did apply for some type of government assistance. She applied for food stamps. I believe she only got like $125. But out of that $125, I never saw any of it. I believe that she went and she spent it, she ate on it, but she still continued to eat my food. Didn't make no sense. Didn't make no sense. And it's crazy because I tried to get food stamps too. They wouldn't give it to me, and I was living off of $733. Are you serious? But I don't qualify, and I'm going to school. I ain't got no kids, so they me. So, but this little heifer that was out here sucking and effing, she gets some food stamps. How? And she has a job. She has an actual flowing income where she can make more or less money. I got a set amount. I didn't get no more than that. There was no more anything that I did and any money that I made, I had to make it under the table. That's crazy. So I was just like, wow. And I had to let that simmer. So I messaged her. I'm like, listen, I don't think that me and you are going to work out as roommates. You have to figure something out. I'm going to give you some time to figure something out, but you can no longer stay here. And she was just like upset and talking about how she don't have nowhere to go. And like she said, thunder thighs, thick cheeks left her. He don't want anything to do with her. And I'm literally all she has. And I'm just like,
Oh. All right.
yeah, you gotta figure something else out though. And she's like, Miss Valerie's not gonna let me move back in with her, and like I just don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, you're not even willing to like work with me on helping me a little bit, and you have to go. You know, you gotta go. And she's just like, I just don't understand. Like, you understand my predicament, and you know that I don't have a lot of money. And I'm like, you make more than me hourly. And I just came up with that money within 2 weeks on my first check with $600. It wasn't a lot of money. It was like $600. But I came up with $600, and you make more than me hourly. I think I was only making 12 and she made 15. So you have the money. You don't have a big job. Like, I mean, you don't, not a big job. You don't have like big bills. You pay for nothing other than your phone bill. So you giving, I know you probably have been stacking up and saving, but for me to ask you to pay the amount, I promise you it wasn't over $100, you guys. And I needed more. I went from me asking her, like, to say the bill was $300, right? I asked for $150. I didn't have the rest. She said no. I asked for $100. She said no. I went down to $50. I'm like, could you do $50? She said no. She said she wasn't helping. So I said, you have to go. You have to go.
And turn your big ass around and get the fuck back.
And she was just like confiding and like begging to not be put out. And I'm just like, I can't do this. Like, you're not willing to help me. You have to hit the door because you can't stay here. Like, if I'm gonna be in the dark, I'm gonna be in the dark all by myself. Okay, you can't stay here. So I'm not gonna lie, my best friend, not Sage, but other best friend, helped me with the remainder of the bill, gave me that money, and I did eventually, did I get my check back at that time? No, I didn't. I eventually got it back, but I had to continue to work, which caused me to end up having to drop out of school because my school hours and my job interfered a lot. And I just needed to work a lot more than I could go to school because, like, I had to pay for all my bills out of pocket from working, right? So I ended up, like, eventually getting withdrawal from school because, like, if you miss enough days, and I didn't know that jobs were supposed to work with you for your, like, your schooling because they weren't working with me for mine, baby. So I ended up getting dropped out. But that wasn't what was crazy. What was crazy was I told her I gave her some time to get out. But I came home one day. She was staying there, you know, her attitude was like fuck me, like she hated me. And then one day I came home from like work, all of her stuff was gone. And I'm like, well, she must have moved out. Why she didn't say nothing? I cut on that light. Trash was she destroyed my house. She put trash everywhere. She stole all of my dishes, all of my silverware. She threw trash and food everywhere. I opened up the closet. Why did she have like food that she had been eating? Why has she been like throwing it in the closet? Like food, like sandwiches, chicken, like unwrapped up, it wasn't in trash bag. It was literally like, spread around. Like, she had just been leaving it there on purpose. She was trying to give me bugs. She was trying to give me roaches. She was trying to give me rats. I don't know. She destroyed my house. Like, stole all my stuff. Stole all my hygiene. Stole all my soaps and my toothpaste. Stole all my silverware, my dishes, like the little cooktops I had. She stole all that. I'm surprised the bitch didn't steal my blow-up mattress on my TV, because it would have made sense. You had a little bitty blow-up mattress. I had the big one. You know, the one that sit up like this high, and you know, you put it in the wall and I had that one. I'm surprised you didn't see that. I had the box. The box was right there on top of... The box was like what TV was sitting on. You could have stole the TV. Listen. And then she blocked me. She stole all my food too, y'all. She stole everything. And then she blocked me. That's her thank you.
I'm like, what do you say fuck me for?
She never said thank you. Never. Never said thank you for allowing me allowing her to stay with me. Never said nothing. But then the bitch blocked me. I never got to run into her again. And I wasn't looking for her. I was looking for, like, I ain't gonna lie, I had something to say to her. She blocked me over everything. I couldn't say that to her. I didn't know nobody who really know the little girl. It's crazy because then I know you and I do be seeing you over social media. And I'm just looking at her and she has a daughter now. And like, she has more kids. Congratulations. You owe me an apology, you fat, funky, mayo. Ooh, bitch, I hate you. Like, you're nasty. And this is why I don't like doing things for people. But that's my first roommate experience. You think I learned my lesson? No. After that person moved out, someone else moved right in, okay? I hope y'all like that story. Now, like, what do y'all think I should have done? Like, do y'all think that I was wrong for putting her out? Or do y'all think I should have put her out sooner? Because I honestly think that I should, like, I think that Sage was being mean, you know, when it comes to, like, not let her stay there. But I just wish I would have listened to her. Because I got nothing from that situation, but I lost a lot, you know? And trying to take care of people when I can barely take care of myself is not a smart idea. How you filling up other people's pot when yours is empty? Like, and then for her to, like, be upset with you for telling her that she couldn't stay there any longer after she gave you no other choice. And then, like, her repaying you for allowing her to stay there for basically, it was about a month and a half for free. You paid nothing, you gave nothing, and you took everything. Like, you don't think that you could at least said thank you. You know, you didn't have to destroy my house. You could have just at least left. And then to block me, not give me no closure, to steal all my silverware. You know how expensive that was to get all of that? Like, girl, you're wicked. You're wicked. You're wicked. You're wicked.
I'm at the top of my game. I'm who they hate. This shit come with the fame. That's how I knew that I made it.